welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
And we're too excited, everybody! We're talking about Act 1 of Season 2 of Arcane.
Arcane.
God,
It was weird they changed the name for the second season, but here we are.
They wanted to mix things up.
They said, just in case someone mispronounces this on a podcast, let's just change it.
So overall, I think we're all hyped, and we haven't really been discussing it with each other, which has been hard. So if we want to jump just right into like episode 1, Heavy as the Crown, we can. Unless we wanted to do overall vibes. I don't know.
I mean, I'll do a real quick overall vibe, like fucking slaps.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah, likewise. I guess, yeah, likewise. I really enjoyed almost all of it. There's like one kind of big glaring spot for me, which is the new characters added to this sort of Piltover strike team are really in a really weird place for me right now.
Okay.
Mostly, I mean, maybe we can talk about it when we get into the episode 1. I don't know.
Episode 1
when
and
we
3,
finally get to
I
episode
think, is
1.
when we see them the most, I assume.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're the weirdest spot for me, and I feel like they really are going to need to get more in the next acts, because if they don't, then I think it'd be really weird.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got these characters who have been I don't know the names of 2 of them. One of them has no lines of dialogue, which is like you could write them that way, but it's not done in a way that's like
Natural.
that's their shtick. Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
But they still hold this really important place within this seemingly very important team, right? It's a little weird. It I don't know. But that's the only thing. I don't want to harp too much on it, but it's just like a big kind of thumb in the eye a little bit of some of them, especially episode like 1. I don't know, just like kind of some of the, you know what I mean?
Man, you just opened with the negativity. You couldn't even
That's his
save
only
it.
negativity. He wanted to get
But
that
that's
true.
the only
Maybe
thing
I
we've
should-
talked about so far.
Oh
That's
my
true.
God, John.
All right,
Well,
let's get into it. Let's just jump into it, right? Let's get into episode 1. Let's
I'll
talk about
say
the intro.
my-
You want to talk about the intro first?
my number one-
Vibes.
I was just going to say my number 1 prediction and hope. We saw a Heimerdinger turret. Everybody, I don't care. It blew bubbles.
It blew fucking...
It blew fucking bubbles,
And
is
it
what
was
he
great.
just said. I just muted him by accident. Also, can I get one of those for my daughter? She'd love it.
Right?
Oh, dude. More and more as we do this podcast, I realize that Riot is like sitting on a fucking gold mine of little baby toys.
Little kid
and
toys, yep.
board books and just all these things. Every time I hear fucking Old McDonald and I hear a moo moo there, I just think it's like, oh, that's cash money that is just slipping through my fingers right now.
Right? Especially given that, like, they want to raise the next generation of League players. You might as well start them now.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, anyway, episode
Wow.
1, Heavy as the Crown, which I didn't think was going to be featured in the show at all.
Right.
But I really like the version they
Yeah.
used for it. I think it's like at the end of the episode, so that's jumping ahead. But yeah, the version they use, a little bit slower, more dramatic version. Oh, it's great.
Yeah. It would be weird to try and get the original
Yeah.
Linkin
Yeah.
Park song in here.
But it means Linkin Park's
To say
probably
the
not
least.
going to show up, unfortunately. We thought maybe.
Well, we don't know that.
That's
Yep.
true.
You heard Imagine Dragons every episode until they showed up.
It's true.
Oh, you want to talk about the intro, Mark, yeah?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's different. It's new. What did y'all think of it? I think it did kind of read like everyone's in their pajamas until
Yes.
Mbessa shows up. Then it's like, okay, maybe they're going for like a Grecian sort of like toga type situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the aesthetic they're going for with it?
It had, man, I'm trying to put my finger on exactly what the word I'm trying to think of for the aesthetic is. Because I know Jace's sounded Jace's introduction in the intro was very much like he was almost in jail or something like that. And like the door was being opened for the first time and the light was pouring in. And like, I think a lot of the other characters kind of shared like a similar type thing to that. And I don't know what the symbolism is behind that.
Maybe we'll
but-
know more later.
Well, I assume it's with Jace. I think you can super dig into the symbolism with Jace. I assume it's like it's the spotlight, right, and it's blinding him, right?
yeah,
And he's
yeah.
kind of like putting his hand. He's like, it's not. I never asked for this. to quote the man himself. Right, like almost
Vi
everyone's
is rubbing her name out. On
yeah, pretty much
hers.
I think everyone's full arc for this season broadly is kind of outlined in the intro, right? You have Jinx becoming the, some sort of symbol of revolution. You've got Mel with all like the influence kind of reaching around her, and then she's kind of casting it off, right? You got Ambessa with all this Black Rose imagery. Echo,
Doing
mostly Echo's
flips
just
and
like
shit and
he
time
flips
stuff.
and does his time
Yeah.
stuff. Did you catch? Did you catch his shadow is like the
Yes.
ticking clock? Yeah, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Victor's is probably the coolest with his mask, and then
Yeah.
it took me. I didn't notice it the first episode, but in the other ones, I did see that the second time they show him with like the mask in front of him, all these other masks in the background started kind of come into the shot just subtly in the background. That's pretty good.
They are doing his, like, he has this cult following so much better than the League Lord did.
Yeah, I think they're.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a bit
I
more
know,
too, but I
that's
think
more
they're
in episode
nailing
2.
that.
But it's
Yeah.
way more.
really smart the way they're doing it, and I'm excited to see it play out. Yeah, but
I just don't know why.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say my one complaint about the opening is the very final like beat, like the look out for yourself. I guess just kind of comparing it to season 1 where there was like this big like explosive look out for yourself, and like there was the logo popped up and there was an explosion of thing, and like the impact really matched with the music there. But now that they have the same music, you're kind of expecting that same impact, but it's just kind of like a very light
it is,
exposure of the League of Legends with the light going around it.
the light is the fans. Remember, it's the light of the fans turning, I don't know if you noticed that.
What fans?
The fans that they're using to route all of the gray throughout Zon to
the
poison
very
the
end?
citizens.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, it's fan spinning.
Again.
If you look at the theme song, when it says Arcane at the very end of the opening, the lights is, I'm pretty sure, a fan blade spinning.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't
I
caught
like it.
that.
I
I'll have
think
to
it's
look
cool.
at it.
It's just I don't think it matches the impact.
It just edges you a little bit, I think, is the problem.
Sure.
just edges me.
Yeah, like you're feeling edged at
Oh,
the end. You
yeah.
wanted the explosion, but
It's
it was
kind
just
of-
a light.
It's kind of like having a piece of music that
Little
doesn't
breath of air.
resolve at the end. You're just like,
Interesting.
Yeah, edging. She thought
I
blowing
mean-
was blowing the fan in the wind.
Yeah, you said fans. I thought you were just making a crack about like League fans
no,
or something.
no,
I didn't
no,
know.
fan
Yeah.
blades. It was like a fan blade
Sure.
spinning. Anywho,
All right.
episode 1.
opens with some real cool artistic shit.
Sure, does it? I don't remember.
It was like the black and white
It's
chalk
the-
drawings.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the,
yeah.
Yeah, the funeral sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, we find out poor Mrs. Kierman is gone.
Well, I guess the opening is like the immediate aftermath
Yes,
of the council,
after
right?
the blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We find
So
out who
everything
survived
got-
and who didn't, and
Victor's looking shady.
We were way off.
Yeah,
we were
really
way off. I didn't
Victor
think
got
any of them were
fucked
making it
up.
out of there.
Victor
Yeah, I
got
was
really
certain.
fucked up. Yeah.
I was really surprised that we had so many surviving council members. Honestly, I guess it makes more sense. It creates a little bit more political tension and drama than just having everyone who like. If it was just Victor and Mel and Jace, they're all pretty aligned, and it's know
That's
what I mean.
true.
So
Although we did kind of get a bit of, I mean, she's being real shady about it, but I feel like we got a bit of confirmation about there definitely being something about Mel protecting her.
Oh, yeah.
it's like the opening thing is like the light
Jace
kind
being
of
like,
fading.
how did I live? How am I okay? And she's like, who knows how
Can't
these
wave
things
that
work?
away.
Jace?
Yeah,
All right.
world's
Don't
a
worry about it.
mysterious
Anyway, what's up with
place.
Victor?
Fate? Yeah, how's your
Who's that
bud?
guy?
She's pretty subtle about it. I'm pretty confident she's sandbagging. Sarah had asked when we were watching, like, does she not know? And my first thought was like, well, no, I'm pretty sure she knows. It'd be interesting if it was something that she wasn't aware of.
That would be
Right.
more interesting.
I assume
yeah.
she's
Kind of like,
I assume
I
she's-
mean, I don't know if it's at all related, because I know this is kind of its own thing, but jumping ahead a little bit to those runes that Mel's mom and her bodyguard used against the Black Rose when they were attacking to kind of get them off their back for a second. Like, I wonder if she's got some protection runes in her shit that she doesn't even know about.
It's possible.
potentially, yeah. potentially. It would seem more appropriate. Like, narratively, it makes more sense that she knows about it and is just continuing to kind of obfuscate, but I don't know.
Also, who thought the fucking Black Rose was gonna be in this season, dude?
Fuck me, dude.
The second I saw Ambessa open her hand and there was a Black Rose in the opening, I was like, fuck yeah,
I
there's
totally
a Black
missed
Rose.
it. I totally missed that shit. I was just like, I was totally out of it. What's interesting about that shot in the intro, I know we're just gonna talk about the intro this whole fucking episode. What's interesting about that shot with Ambessa is that the look on her face and the light in her eyes are the things I want to call kind of attention to in that shot, where she's holding it out because she's got a very a slippery grin. You know what I mean? She does not look serious and hardened in that shot. She looks like, yeah, you know, she's got this bright orange light shining in her eyes. I don't know what's going on with that. You never know what's going on with the Black Rose and who might be who. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're way more competent, as John pointed out.
Right? Immediately, already more competent than any Black Rose we've ever
And there's
read
a lot
about.
more of them, or they're all LeBlanc, and we just don't know. But
I was gonna say maybe Ambessa's LeBlanc in the opening, and that's why she's got a slide.
That's what I'm. I mean, that is what I'm kind of getting at.
I didn't catch that. Yo, I will shit my pants again if one of these ends up being LeBlanc.
I want some. Okay, we've now begun season 2. Someone needs to start tallying up all these receipts and start finding how many.
That's true. I did say I was going to shit my pants for a
the
lot of
debt?
stuff. It's okay. I've been paying it off as the year went on, though.
Been putting in those
It's been
deposits.
Shit my pants. Night.
Fuck me.
Yeah, but anyway. Right, episode 1.
Episode 1.
We don't have to talk beat by beat.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
just general. How does this one end again?
This one ends with the big reveal that Jace made hextech weapons for everyone, and they're going to take a strike force
and they're
down.
gonna
Big action
go.
sequence. Yeah.
It technically ends with Singed, but so do all the episodes. So
Yeah, that was interesting the way.
that
Yes.
answered one of our questions. We were curious how much of this process we were going to see, and we thought we would see it all in flashbacks and not really see a lot of the progress, but we're actually seeing they're drip feeding us.
Yeah.
Right. Much like how he's dripping chemicals
Feeding
into.
his own
Xander.
blood to...
And his own blood. He seemed to really like that part too.
Yeah, he seemed very into it.
Wouldn't you
Anyway,
though? Come on.
yes.
Yeah.
This went by really fast. Just all of it went by really quickly, but I felt like this episode really did. It's hard to keep in mind how recently everything happened. Like, Vi was in prison not that long ago, I feel like, at the beginning of this one, so...
Yeah, I think I've seen some feedback around it feeling very rapidly paced, maybe too rapidly paced, and
Yeah.
I mean that was a little bit how I felt even in like the first season. Was I remember thinking I want like a 10th episode worth of content spread out across all these to give them 5 more minutes each, and just kind of give everything a little bit more room. I don't think that would hurt here. But I think another good point that I saw kind of in contrast to that was that this is not like a more traditional season of television where like we're starting kind of again and we're building our rising action back up, etc. It's like we're kind of coming at things are just continuing to accelerate. So a rapid pace might be more appropriate. And
That's fair.
And
Yeah.
if there had not been such a big gap between this and season 1, maybe it wouldn't feel so jarring. You know, like you might have more fresh in your mind that things have only escalated, right? We're coming back down to a lull to kind of build back up again, right?
Yeah.
So
And,
not
I mean,
bad.
I think, too, another one of the immediate things that we called from the trailer that I guess is just wrong is, you know, not Marcus's daughter. Just just another enforcer they drew to look just like Marcus's daughter, but just slightly older.
I will say, I don't know if we mentioned if we did we go over it when we were talking about it last? And I don't quite remember, but like if I had thought about it for a second, it's like yeah, that makes no sense. That would be such a massive time skip they would have had to have done, which they could have done maybe, but not with how things were kind of portrayed. Anyway,
She's got a fun accent.
Sure. Well, I mean, you know, she's the only one who gets any significant dialogue, so you gotta do something with her, right? Anyway,
I did like Vi getting shit pissed drunk with the one enforcer though. I do like how that kind of the Vander enforcer
/ Brahm enforcer.
It's what she's kind of like changed her mind almost about like putting on the enforcer uniform. She's like, well, one of them did get really drunk with me. I know it wasn't the thing that pushed her, but
yeah.
Just being
all right,
drunk in the road and Piltover.
See, that's the thing where it's like, if you'd had a little more time with these, I don't want to keep talking about these newbies, but it's like if you had a little more time with them, you could really kind of, like, they all have, like, I can see the character archetypes. They just don't have the time to, like, they haven't been, like, actually introduced and had time to flourish a little, you know?
Although it definitely looks like we're going to. I mean,
Yeah,
the end of the
we'll
last
see.
episode,
Right?
it looks like Shield's guys probably going to be going to find Vi. We'll probably get a
that'd be
complete
great.
side thing
Yeah.
happening there. Looks
Sure.
like we've got the one who does have lines seems to be very into this new Noxian way of doing things, which is like going to be a fun kind of juxtaposition to how sweet she was kind of in the,
That's
the
true.
first
And because she's
episode.
following Caitlyn in that regard, I
Yeah.
think.
And then
Sure.
guy who didn't get any lines.
The
Who knows?
Poseidon
Probably won't
Maybe
get
guy?
something will
lines.
happen.
I would love if he stayed silent the whole thing and they just, you can, like I said, you can totally make him a character with no dialogue. It's totally fine.
You finally
Right?
get his
It's a
name
fun
and it's
shtick.
Link.
Link. Just kind of look like a Zoro.
Yeah. All right. So episode 1, right? I want to talk about Caitlyn.
Yes.
I want to talk about Caitlyn because this is like my
Loving
feeling
what
for the
they're
whole
doing with
act
Caitlyn.
one. I'm
Yeah.
loving Caitlyn, right? And I think I said it before. It's like she's kind of a bit of a not the most interesting thing in Act 1 or Act 1 Season 1. And I had this feeling after the funeral. Okay, so like I don't know. There's little bits I love about episode 1 where like they have her constantly showing that like straight face for the public, and then she has that breakdown with Vi. You know, like Vi just says hey, and Caitlyn melts into her arms. You know, it's lovely to see. And there's a nice line from Mel about like, yeah, if you're paying attention, or if you're someone who can really read people like Mel could, you would recognize that she's really, really hurting. But puts on a brave face. And but there was the moment where she is talking with Jace in like the park, right? And I like the little sequence before they start talking where she's kind of just daydreaming about killing Jinx, which is kind of neat. And she had this moment where she's like, you know, oh, I think about her and her laugh and I want to tear it from her throat. But then I think about like, oh, wouldn't that be crazy if I did that? And it's like,
That'd be super illegal, right, Jace? Right?
right. It's like, which is like, you know, it would be so easy, but I won't do that. And I love that they keep knocking her down, right? And it's like, is she going to stand back up? And the answer is seemingly, for now, no. I assume she eventually will at the end. She'll come back around to being
I know.
a dictator,
I'm
but
so excited to see this Caitlyn arc because I think there's going to be a moment where she finds out that she has been a puppet for Ambessa and has been planned to be for a while. And I think she's going to be fucking pissed. And I'm really excited to see that moment.
Two things about that.
I'll go for it.
One, did you notice in that scene that you were talking about at the park where every time she had one of those changes of heart, the wind would change direction?
Oh,
Yeah. They would cut back to the little, right? Like it blows up and then she thinks about Vi and it kind of calms back down.
Yeah.
And to your point about being a puppet for Ambessa, tell me that this does not sound like Mel's description for how to install a ruler when you take over a country. She should be clever to charm her subjects, but pliable so we can mold her.
Sure. I like it. I like
That's
it a
a
lot.
Caitlyn to me.
What,
Sure.
Mel said this?
In
In
season
season
one,
one.
when we
Season
first introduced to
one,
Mel and she's a little
yes.
girl and she's talking about how to install a new leader after you've taken over an area.
Yeah.
Little
Ambessa's
tween
got
Mel.
that shit on lock.
Right?
She's like, found
Yeah.
it. I found the woman with
It's-
the kind face.
And the family name, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I really things like that. The some of the imagery in the when she's looking through like the fantasy microfilm thing, you know what I'm talking about? Where you look at the
Yeah.
old newspapers in a library, look at that, and it has that like dark image with these eyes like cast over her face. That in the intro where she's got her hands up and it creates this like weird crowned shadow behind her. It's like, I don't know. Are we stepping into weird like horror element? Not really. Once I found out what was going on underneath the Kiraman estate, I thought it was gonna be a demon down in there.
Right.
I don't know.
Much darker.
Much
That-
darker. Yeah.
That imagery, I think, from the opening too, like Caitlyn, like that looks just like Jinx looked in the enemy music video, with like the And in fact, I feel like she's even doing like the same pose that Jinx was doing as she was like fighting with herself between like young and adult Jinx in the anime music video.
I don't really remember. I have to look at it. Something I also noticed with Caitlyn a lot, and especially in this first one, is they have a lot of sequences that are really close up on her, like on her eyes. I want to say, for example, it might be after the memorial attack, where she's getting the one of the newbies is doing like an inspection on her, is looking into like checking her eyesight, and has this like really harsh close up of her eyes, and they're kind of flitting around. And whenever she kind of gets into her little, but then I killed Jinx, you'll kind of get into these really like almost claustrophobic like close ups into her face and focusing on her eyes. And this is kind of, eyes are a big thing, right? When it in Arcane, and how they look means something, and. So it's just kind of very it's interesting. I'm loving it, and I think I'm liking it too, because I was not sure how they were going to get Vi into the Enforcer state, but I think Caitlyn as sort of the catalyst for it feels like it feels appropriate, like it makes sense that Vi probably would, like, obviously does not want to, but seeing that Caitlyn is not necessarily handling it the best, it's like it's a very strong incentive for her to be there more for her than anything else. And it's, I don't know, it bridges that gap for Vi, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a couple things there that help me accept it a little bit more. I know that Caitlyn had also mentioned when she was talking to Jace that, like, oh, Vi thinks that those gauntlets are going to fix everything if you can just fix them for her. And I mean, that is kind of seems like one of the things that happen when you join the Enforcers. Like, yeah, you're gonna get those sweet gauntlets back and finally get a chance to fix everything that you wanted to fix before.
Sure.
Also, did anyone get huge Singed vibes from Caitlyn? Like, I feel like when she said like she can't be allowed to escape again, it gave me like real big, like, the mutation must survive.
Yeah, very specific wording.
And I mean, she's using all that green gas, which I straight up did think was singed for a minute.
Right?
Likewise. Oh, God, when we get to 2, we can talk about that shit. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Man, I took... My notes are, like, so out of order here.
Yeah.
But hold on. Let me see if I can find anything else.
It's okay.
From episode 1.
That's fine. I tell you, big highlight for me also, that whole memorial action sequence. I feel like they indulge a lot in action sequences more in this season. I'm here for it. And that one in episode 1 lasts. I felt like it's pretty extended. I felt like it lasted a while. I was very surprised how long it went. Not in a bad way. So many like parts happening. We're watching so many like single fights happening. It's multi-threaded. Yeah. It also
feels plan by Ambessa to attack the memorial. That was like such the push that it was perfect, right? To go down into Zon. The idea that they would also interrupt the memorial. And I think buck wild.
Yeah, and the fact that the fight sequence is so long, when we know that Ambessa was in the wings,
was waiting, could have ended it
at any point, and was just chilling there, really just like
letting them fight.
Increases the impact of how long that fight scene was.
God, what a cold bitch.
No, I like it. I mean, it feels very. Yeah. The whole fight feels very desperate too. I think it's really nice because you've had that line from Caitlyn earlier in the episode of like, again, she's still playing her like. When she's talking with Jace, she's still playing her like, I can fix this. There's a way through. Hextech, will keep us alive, but it won't save us. And then they're doing that fight sequence, and it's like, you need that. You need the hextech, right? Mm-hmm. Because just taking down one of the I don't know what you call them, the Kimtech.
Yeah, the Kimtech like juggernaut there at the end.
Juggernaut things, right?
One. Yeah.
Like just her and Vi being able to take down one of the smaller ones, very difficult, right? And the brutality of some of what's going on with it, like I love that hulking Juggernaut, like picking the guy up and just fucking flinging him, like what the fuck, it's like this sort of like almost dispassionate, like you just got squished, right? It doesn't even care. You're a fly to that thing. It's I really liked it, and it's really nice to like reinforce like again all these things that are in my mind just construct so much of where Caitlyn's at inner psyche, right? And again, the idea of attacking the memorial, specifically one for her mom, it's like, yeah, this is great. Hit her while she's down, kick her, right? Pull her leg,
Yeah.
And it is nice finally seeing, 'cause the only time we really see Jace in action, right, in season 1 is when he's got his hammer. He's kind of going down there with his hextech. It's nice, and he looks very competent in that fight with his hammer.
With the hammer,
Shockingly.
yeah.
It's shockingly, yeah. It's very nice to see, like, without the confidence that hammer brings you,
The
exactly
hextech weapons.
what
Yeah. He did find the little hammer, though. That
he
was,
did.
Yeah.
It didn't work out great for him.
I did love the little the little gag.
I'm like,
It's like,
okay.
all right.
Oh, yeah, the little,
This is what I'm using.
right, the
Look
Jim
at-
Halpert glance to camera.
What's
Right?
a Jim
He
Halpert
should've.
look? Oh my god.
I would have loved it if he
Arcane in
had.
the office.
Oh my god. And again, right, and that's it's I think that's exactly what it is. I'm trying to kind of talk around, which is like, well, here's your practical weaponry, and it kind of pales in comparison. Also, I love a double chainsaw. What can I say? I'm a
Right?
simple man.
Yeah.
I see 2 chainsaws. I get a little excited.
Seriously, this got fucked up in that fight. I was like thinking realistically, the idea of you're fighting someone with a double chainsaw and your back is to them and you feel them cut your shirt and cut your back. The panic, like you don't know how serious that one
Right?
is, because the second you feel blood, you're like, oh, I'm dead, even if it's the most like the tiniest scratch
Super.
ever. Oh, poor
There's not a lot.
Jason.
There's not a lot of room between. At least I don't know about y'all, but my spine and my skin. There's not a little bit of space there.
I don't
There's
know
not
about the
that much
rest of y'all.
space.
Mine's a little squishy. I'm sitting though. The back.
It's pretty
fat
close to
really-
the surface.
you know.
I don't know. I was shocked. I was actually shocked that he was not like in an infirmary. That he was in fact crafting hextech weaponry with the best of them, with a big old bandage on his giant back wound.
Yeah.
I was very shocked about that.
It's those
And then,
blacksmith
yeah,
muscles, you know.
That's
They
true.
just
Sure.
they
We
protect
gotta
the
use them,
spine.
they're-
Very little people, few people know that.
Hey man, he does not skip back day, and maybe that's it. I would love it if he was like, well, I don't skip on my incline rows. That's what saved me, or whatever, some exercise. And then the moment Victor went into that fucking void cocoon, I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with this guy. We're entirely off the map.
I'm so excited to see where they're going with this hex core and the wild rune idea.
Yeah.
Seeing Victor as a wild rune mage, like, so cool. And comparing it to the person who saved Jace as the true rune mage and what they're supposed to be, I guess. Oh, what a comparison.
I
Yeah.
really had to go back, by the way, and rewatch that scene of Jace being saved originally, just to because when they hit the corruption in down in the depths, like there's weird time shit going on there. It seems like, for sure, and I really had to double check, like, it's not Victor or Jace that goes back and saves himself, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I had the same thought. Same exact thought.
I don't think it is. Like, it didn't. We only get to see the hand, right? The
Yeah.
hands didn't look like either of them, and I feel
Okay.
like the artists are pretty good, but
Case solved. I agree. I had that same thought too. It's like, the hands are different. It's
I had to
that's not
rewatch it though, because
Yeah.
just
Well, it's-
Makes sense.
But it's certainly intentional, right? Like, they absolutely want you to kind of have those echoes in your mind present,
They do look
especially in that sequence.
similar, like, sometimes, like, I
Yeah,
don't know, where Victor ends up anyway.
yeah.
Compared to that mage. I did see a theory, by the way. I don't know if we're jumping into episode 2.
Sure. Yeah, we can kind of.
That's the one that ends with Victor healing the Shimmer guy,
yeah.
right? I did
Yeah.
see a theory that someone is wondering if Victor's hallucinating that and he's corrupting them in some way, in a worse way. I don't think that's true.
That might be
What an
cool.
interesting idea.
I don't know.
He is
I kind of
hallucinating to a point, because I don't necessarily think Sky is with him. I think whatever is corrupting him is making him hallucinate that.
Influencing
in
him,
some way,
yeah.
influencing him.
Or
yes.
taking. I don't think Sky is with them, but I definitely wouldn't put it past whatever the Arcane is to take the form of Sky, since that is a form that it has.
That's true.
Consumed.
It's consumed it, so now it can. Yeah,
And it knows
Yeah.
an easy way to control Victor.
that's fair.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I guess if we're closing out episode 1, I had 2 questions
Yes.
that I was
I
left
have
with
zero
that have not been
answers.
answered. They have not been answered. The first one was: did Jace notice Victor's limbs? I guess like when he rushed him to the hex core, maybe things were like too chaotic for him to really take stock of it.
I think he did notice, because I think he
so.
mentions them.
Yeah, I saw a reaction to them at the very least.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe I
Yes.
missed it, or maybe I read it as just reaction to him being grievously wounded.
It was like, it was a weird reaction, and then it like zoomed on the leg, which I assumed was
I
him
don't
like
know.
noticing.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it. My read on it was that he just saw that Victor was mortally wounded, perhaps, and was freaked out about that. And the other one was that there are some council discussions that happened earlier in the episode. I guess actually all of them, now that I think about it, where Jace is not present. But as far as I'm aware, he's still a council member, because it comes up later that he is a council member.
Yeah,
but,
they're just like doing it without him.
which I'm open to. Right? It's kind of we're Wild Wild West at this point, right? Like, this is not
And now
standard
Mel's
operating
missing.
procedure, right?
Although
Yeah,
I
right.
am surprised actually that Mel let it slide, because Jace, I feel like
It's on her,
especially in
yeah.
these meetings, she really could have used another vote on her
Another
side
vote.
on some of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a single line of dialogue like Jace's. We can't reach him. He's sleeping. He's locked himself away with Victor, and we can't get him. So who gives?
Yeah.
His vote doesn't count, right? It's fine. It's just, or if he had resigned, right? Anything. I think it's like I said, it was just weird that it was so necessary for things to happen based on like votes, and then later on it's mentioned that he's still an acting council member. I don't know, not that big a deal. Episode 2, I fucking loved episode 2 from I think start to finish. I will say, I liked 1. 2 was where I felt like I don't know. I really felt this episode. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think for me it was a lot of seeing Jinx, and seeing who she's kind of become is so gut-wrenching and perfect. I don't know, and seeing her still try to connect with people in some way really breaks my heart.
Sure. Yeah, I think some of that's just the Ella Purnell is the name of the voice actor.
Yeah.
Yes, she's so
So good.
Elevated
Fallout.
was a word I saw thrown about for this performance, and I would totally agree. Like, as much as I enjoyed Jinx and her work in the season 1, I think here, especially now that she's got a lot of these more quieter moments as Jinx proper, especially she's got that whole little monologue at the start, which I loved. I love the reincorporation of the Silco opening from like episode 3 and all that imagery.
Good.
But it's like, damn, she just nails it so hard, and you feel it. So, like, I felt genuine. I don't know, not remorse. I felt sad. That's the word I'm looking for. I just felt really fucking bad for her.
all right,
in that
Dennis
opening.
Reynolds. I felt feeling. What are the
What was that feeling?
What's that feeling? Sadness. Right.
I'm trying to
My
think of
life's
like
just so
a more
good.
thesaurus word.
Thesaurus word.
Thesaurus word.
Yes,
$10
it
word.
was sad. Well put, Mark.
It was sad. I don't know. I just liked it. I liked the imagery of like him, like her trying to clutch on to him as he's sinking away.
Oh, her
and
she kept like having second thoughts about letting him go. Like, you really feel her thinking about how like this is the last time I'm ever gonna see this person, and having to still look for just a little bit longer. Oh, devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the word you were looking for, Mark? Devastating.
Ooh, that's a perfect word. Devastating. Yeah, that's a great word.
You're welcome.
That's a Harvard word right there. Nah, and even in that
I
monologue,
did go to Harvard.
what can I say? I visited on an open house once. And I think even in that monologue, I actually kind of liked it. Did a tiny little bit of world building that it kind of established that once Vander had been removed, whatever's happening in Zon now was similar to what was happening then, and that it was just pure fucking chaos. Right? And it helps make more sense that, why she would have clung to Silco through those years, right?
Oh, that's so true. And then watching him like take control of it again, like putting it in a place that wasn't great.
But had some sort of structure.
There was a structure. Yeah.
Sure. And then we get to that opening, that song, and I was singing a song when y'all hopped onto the call, and it was this song. This song has been stuck in my fucking brain.
so
Sucker by... I want to look it up right now. Who's this
Jonas
by, man? 'Cause
Brothers.
Oh,
They have a song
wish.
called Sucker.
Marcus King, Sucker. I heard this song, and it's, like I said, it's been just in my brain. I've been listening to it on repeat. I loved it so much. I actually love this.
Goes again.
what is it? Get your fingers out of my hair, so long, sucker. You know, like
Okay.
right? It's like it's something that just makes you go like, oh, you just feel it, and then that whole sort of opening montage of like showing what's happening after Soko's gone, right? With the gangs. The gangs were so fun. Oh my god.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jinx just passively walking through all of it.
They say
Yeah.
they say the F word in this song.
Yeah.
Is that the F word?
They crank it up a notch, right?
Take a bit of that. Fuck.
Fuck. They even have a reference to one of my other favorite songs from last season, "Dirty Little Animals."
That's a great song.
It's in and it's in the lyrics for this one. And funny enough, both those songs are introducing you or reintroducing you to the Undercity / Zon after a major thing has happened, right? So it's a neat little connection through line, right? Yeah. The like I said, the gangs really are a fun idea. It makes me think of Kung Fu Hustle type, or like the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
These weird
Anything
like
with
theme
super
gangs.
stereotypical gang or Mystery Men.
To cite a recent example,
We did finally
Disco
watch
Boys.
Mystery Men.
It's right, but it's like I said, it indulges, right? And this is what, when I think of a modern quote unquote thing set in Zon, this is what I picture. It's so much of what happens in this episode with these very stylized, heavily themed Kim Barons. You know, they're like the weird like gentlemen with their mouth masks thing. They're like swaggering around with their fucking canes, like to the beat of the song. Even like, oh, those guys are pimp.
Hope they don't get 3-popped by Jinx in a few minutes.
Versus the dominatrix gang, right? It's great. I love it.
You know
It's like
what I'm
we're
seeing a
Gotham
parallel
City.
now to is in episode 3 at the end there when Mbessa nominates Caitlyn to be the new, I don't know, kill them all person. All like the important families are there, and they also have very distinct looks.
Right?
And themes.
Yeah. They could very well harp on that. Really try and draw like the parallel between like what's the difference between a merchant clan and a Kim Baron? You know, there's some
clan
picky-
is LeBlanc. Yeah, to Kim Baron.
Yo, if that's not fucking LeBlanc, my death means nothing. Ugh.
Come on now, you know.
Was that episode 2?
You
I don't know. Can
it's
we talk
LeBlanc.
about that yet?
I think
What are we talking about now?
I don't give a fuck.
I'm pretty sure. I don't care.
Very fucking cool.
I know.
Yeah,
I think it is episode 2 that this happens, by the way. And that's the first time we see the weird demony stuff that... Are we assuming this is Swain still?
The weird demony. Oh, like
That was holding Ambessa during the assassination
that was
attempt.
No,
just like
Okay, it's
like hemomancy
Like-
or something.
Yes.
Yeah, this has got to
that's
be.
what
This is all
I'm
Black Rose, right?
thinking and hoping. Because I was like, okay, this is Black Rose. Swain doesn't work with the Black Rose. They're not really partners. So if this means we're going to get a Vladimir instead, who would you rather see, Vlad or LeBlanc in Arcane, if you had to pick one?
Blanc.
LeBlanc
Probably
does fit in
LeBlanc,
better,
yeah.
right?
LeBlanc.
I think Vlad is kind of like cashed out of most of the Black Rose shit at
Well,
this
I
point
mean,
too.
we don't know. I mean, Arcane's
I mean,
different.
who knows,
They
right?
can
It's
do whatever they
uncharted
want.
territory.
It
Yeah.
is uncharted, but we do know there's a lot of other hemomancers now, thanks
That's
to
true.
thanks to the Katarina
Seeing
comic.
a hemomancer
Yeah.
would be pretty sick.
Yeah, just seeing
Yeah.
one.
That could easily. Well, I mean, I think if that's what was going on here, they would have been more explicit about like her. Maybe imagine that Mbessa has more guards, and the councilwoman pulls like their blood out, kind of Magneto, iron in your
Yeah.
blood style, you know, something like that.
That's why I was thinking it wasn't a hemomancer. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it probably is not. I think we certainly just think that because of the shit, because we've read the
We
lore.
know, right? Yeah.
That's what. There's something wrong with us, not the show, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess okay. So like pulling it back a little bit, maybe to like we're still like kicking around in Zon. The portrayal of the strike team as like a horror monster or like as villains is I loved it.
Yeah.
So good, like seeing all these many eyes and stuff like that. And it took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize that it was the Strike Force. It wasn't until you see the eyes separate and the shadows come out that I was like, oh.
I don't think that's embarrassing. I mean, I think that's
Yeah, I
appropriate. I think
think
that's
that's
exactly the
intentional, for
moment,
sure.
right? Because the first time it's only 3 eyes and it's portrayed absolutely like the way they draw out on the smoke. It is given form like a monster. And I remember thinking, like, what the fuck is this? Like you said, is this
it Urgot?
singed? Is this new?
Yeah.
Right?
I thought Urgot for a
that split second of like maybe Urgot.
And then I
Oh,
thought
God.
Warwick. Maybe Warwick got it. Got all the pieces slapped
Out in the
together. He
mix.
was walking around now. Yeah.
But even the whole sequence where Jinx is like in the arcade, kind of around them, it's all treated like they're the horror monster. They're all faceless. They've got that persistent sort of breath, like mask breathing. They don't say anything really. And Jinx is the one hiding and trying to like stay away. Like, it's
And she knows
I
that
love it.
Vi is one of them, which is so upsetting that she recognizes her sister in it. And I love how. Sorry, honey. Did you want to talk?
No.
Okay. Good. No, it's gone.
Oh. Well,
no.
Then I'll say,
no.
okay.
I remember now.
Well, this is embarrassing for you.
Anyway, I didn't know who to side with when they're looking for Jinx. We're from Jinx's point of view. She's hiding. She's scared. And I'm like, I don't want them to find her. I don't want her to hurt them. So it was like, oh, what a moment. Not a lot of shows could do that to you where you're like, I just don't want you to hurt anybody anymore. Stop hurting each other.
Yeah,
I love all
you
of
just
you.
want it to end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like
yeah.
the Strike Force, like they don't just like look like the villains here. Like they are very much using the gray
They are the villains
through
here.
the
You're right.
streets
Yes,
of
I
Zaw,
should,
which
What?
just we'll kill you.
I
Like
think it's the darkest thing Caitlyn does in these first 3 episodes, and
Yeah. Especially
it's
considering...
it's tough to choose.
it is.
There's a lot of darkness in Caitlyn in these first 3 episodes.
Yeah, she does.
I mean, I think this one's
Yeah.
pretty egregious. Like, this one is so egregious because, like, obviously very intentionally, this was kind of her mother's legacy, right?
Yes.
And it was
Yeah.
intended to be
Perverted.
something... Yeah, right? Is like a boon or whatever you want to say to the Zonites. And it being, like you said, perverted. That's, again, perfect word.
And if we talk
What a
about
grimy
like,
word.
right? If like we can, I think there's enough justification through the episode, through episode 1, that I could see Vi joining a strike force to go down and get Jinx, even if it means
Yeah.
joining the Enforcers. I am very surprised that she agreed
to
I
the
agree.
gray.
to the gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like... This is, again, it's like... This is maybe another instance where it's like, the conversation needs to happen here, probably.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. Because she does say, like, when Jinx brings it up, rightfully, she's like, it was to clear out the streets and nobody got hurt. Totally valid reason, and that's great. But yeah, it's such a dark and horrible thing to do to your people. And it felt a little too far for
Yeah.
Vi.
Again, maybe if you did establish harder or more strongly that
This
people
isn't gonna
just
hurt anyone. They're
left.
just
Yeah,
scattered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like immediate, like, oh, I guess that's it. It's sort of like, okay, well, I guess. But then again, like, imagine you run some business, right? And it's like, oh, well, there's gray here.
And the cops
that's-
just all smoke bomb your area and just to get you to leave.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just told me to leave, you fucker. I guess they couldn't because they're the cop. But yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
another
so
great
it's-
parallel between season 1 and season 2 Caitlyn, where like Caitlyn's talking to Echo season 1, and Echo wants to use hextech to fight against Silco, and she's like, that's not going to help things. It'll only
Yes.
increase the cycle of violence, and it'll never stop. And here she is, season 2, maybe.
It's a lesson
yes.
I'm confident she's going to learn, and I'm so excited to see her learn it.
You know what I saw raised up, which I don't know if they would take her this far, but they make a really clear point in these episodes that Echo is really trying to hide where this tree is. When they even bring in refugees, they have them blindfolded, right? Caitlyn knows where this is, right? So I don't know what's going to happen as a result of that, but she got her weird dictator jacket put on
I
her,
know.
and fucking all bets are off, right?
I
It's
think
like,
if she would do that, a redemption arc would be almost impossible, if not impossible.
I do agree. Right.
I like that being her even having that thought would be a wake-up call for her, in a way. I think
Yeah,
would
that's like
make
the
more
brink.
sense for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
That she realizes that she's near hurting that tree, or maybe someone had found out about the tree and was going to hurt that area with all these children just hiding.
I mean, I could see her
Yeah.
being on the verge of putting the torch to it, and then that's her
That's
rock
what like
bottom,
wakes her.
right?
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck am I thinking?" Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
Jinx
something would happen.
wouldn't be welcome there either. So it's not like I think she would find that as a hiding spot unless she took it over forcibly, which
But that's
would
the
be
thing,
hard.
right?
They're
Because, like,
taking in
once
a
you
lot
get
of
into-
refugees.
Although
right now.
her Teemo child that's following her around that we haven't talked about yet, that's a little girl, right? I think may have
Yeah.
come from
Isha, was it? Or
Isha.
something like that?
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
It came
I
up
don't
in the
think
It came up in the
subtitles. They don't say the name.
right.
at
I was like,
all.
it's never said nameless child.
We haven't talked about the nameless child yet. I've been calling her Teemo. Because she just bears a striking resemblance. I think
Right.
intentionally, but it's so cute.
Yeah. Well, Teemo's kind of a
Yeah.
children's, like it's in like the little
That's
kid books,
true.
right?
Maybe she's intentionally looking. Oh, why didn't I think of that? She's trying to look like Teemo. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to throw up. That's so cute. If anything happens to her, I'm gonna lose it.
Well, I mean, who knows, man?
So is Jinx, and I will cheer her on.
Right. Can we talk about Savika's new arm?
Oh, Savika. Yeah.
What
What a
I
scene,
had-
right?
So perfect.
It's
I
so
love-
creative.
I know.
It's exactly
A
the
Jinx
type of
arm.
arm that Jinx would make. I love it so much.
It's a weapon you'd find
Mm-hmm.
in Borderlands as well. It felt like
Right? Just like, hey, some of these things also just they're not going to do anything. And some of them
That
are
was great.
going to play my theme song, and it's
Play-
going to be awesome.
theme song.
Yeah.
I like she's just watching. She's like, I just want to see this arm play out,
Right.
Because she could have helped intervene at that point. But,
No, it's,
that was a
it's
great
so
fight
fun.
scene.
I
Honestly,
love
the
it.
beginning of that scene too, where before Savika joins and like he's just kind of Jinx has just escaped the gray and then kind of gets ambushed. The whole speech that he gives to him was great too. Again, about how she kills everyone that gets close to him. And
Yeah.
She does.
turns
it
out
didn't
you're
make
the type of
me-
guy who gets close.
So
Joker.
She's a little Joker, which is great, but better. It's gone. Oh, do we think Savika knows that Jinx killed Silco? Because
No, I think
the
she
Yordle
does
guy
not.
didn't know. I would assume she doesn't know. Yeah, I'm curious if she's gonna find that out.
I think that's on their. They're aware. The writers, that is.
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
something they'll play with.
I assume
I
if
don't know
I'm
how.
aware of it, they're more than aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, people have blind spots, you know. But yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's
Savika
interesting.
did call it in like episode 6 or 7, right? When Vi first came down, she's like, "Well, sooner or later, he's gonna find out that you're as good for him as you were for your family."
Yeah,
You right.
honestly,
Harsh but real.
sure. I was surprised how much I enjoyed spending time with Savika. Just
Me
as like,
too. Yeah.
I enjoyed her more in rewatch too. On the when we just did
Yeah,
the
me
rewatch.
too.
But especially here is just really fun. I don't know. She felt nice and a little vulnerable. You know, when she's trying to kind of fix her arm, and the fact that she got that shit ripped off at the end of last season.
And she busted her
Insult.
ass trying to make it, and
Right?
trying
You
to
yeah.
watch the
rip
whole
it off.
process, and that she's like, now she's like adopted Vander's code too. You know, like, no, we're not going to give up any of our own, so take it off the table.
Even of Jinx of all people too, right? Like
Right.
someone who she constantly butted heads with. And then they have this weird connection with Silco. I really liked it. You know, it's like you said. I'm liking this almost repetition of people who think they kind of know. Like, here's what we're gonna do, and fuck what we've done before. We're gonna be a cutthroat on this one. Like Savika was kind of like that, I think, more in season 1, and then they get into the chair, and it's like. Like that pose that Silco does, where he's like, "Oh fuck." That's what it's like to be responsible for all the lanes and Zon. It's like, oh, we got a lot of orphans. I did not realize the orphan situation.
There's so many of them. We're running out
Where
of
do they
orphan
keep coming
seeds for the
from?
Shimmer.
I guess we better spin up another factory. All these orphans have no work.
Right. That's real. So yeah.
We're seeing a lot of characters switch places in this season 2 than where they were in season 1. I think by the end of it, Vi is going to understand Jinx a lot more, and Jinx is going to understand Vi a lot more. Because they're kind of switching roles here. Like, Vi's just been beaten down, and now Jinx is being lifted up in order to help her people. Whereas that's what Vander always did with Vi, you know? I'm interested. I'm desperate to see where Vi's emo depression takes her.
Right.
I really think she's just going to hide out in the depths of Zod, and I'm so excited for that.
I mean, you know, I want to pull from like teasers and trailers and things, but we've seen her all gothed out, you know? Yep. It's like...
I'm excited. She's just like in boxing rings, like making money. Like, this looks great. Who's gonna find her? How are they gonna drag her out of that? You know
who's gonna find her is Warwick.
She's gonna keep her fists.
Oh, Warwick, huh?
Yeah,
I don't
think
know.
Warwick's gonna find her. She's gonna realize it's Vander, and that will be what brings her back. I don't know.
That would be gut wrenching. Yeah, I don't know. I want her to have a conversation with Jinx before this is all over, but we'll get to that.
Sure. Yeah. God, you'd have to.
Right. A not fighty one.
Not a fighty one.
Not a fighty one.
Yeah.
So this is the episode that Victor...
I was going to say, I want to talk about Victor.
The lab.
Yes.
Let's talk about Victor a little bit. I think on initial
What's
watch...
going on with Jesus?
On initial watch, I think him leaving the lab seemed really abrupt.
It did.
To me. On rewatch, it did happen... So he started by saying, like, you know, what the fuck, Jace? Yeah. Like, I told you to do one thing, destroy it, and you made me it.
In me.
The fuck, man.
Or on me.
And then the second thing he did was go over to Jace's table and see blueprints for all of the hextech weapons he had made for the other enforcers. And, like, that was the moment where he was like... All right, well, I guess our paths diverged more than we thought. And he didn't, like, say that was why, but, like, he did say, like, all right, I'm out right after looking at those blueprints.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I agree. I had the exact same feelings in terms of felt abrupt at first, and then rewatch it felt, you know, he's so past the point of, you know, like his first line is like, I was supposed to die.
Yeah.
Then he just is out and out. It's like it's killed Sky. You know, it's just like there's this sort of crushing, I don't know, like just like despondence with him, where he's so far gone from he can't even feel sad or anything about it at this point, because it's so beyond whatever it should have been. You know what I mean?
I'm curious too if his feelings are in general going to be different. I don't know if they're going to implement that part of lore, because kind of in the lore is that he doesn't have a ton of feelings anymore, right?
And I think they were hinting at that a bit, because you mentioned one point his voice changed, but like on rewatch his voice is different that entire scene.
His voice
He's got
is
that
very
metallic
strange
voice going on the entire time.
Yeah. Certainly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was interesting, right, that he touches his staff and the staff changes, but it's like, I really feel like this is intentional, like death imagery in terms of like how death is depicted in like paintings and shit. You know what I mean? Where it's this sort of like a skeleton or a severely emaciated like man in a big black cloak and you know, this big scythe, right? Like there's a reason his cane is now so much higher and kind of curves kind of over him, right? Right?
Yeah,
Am I
like
just like
that.
reaching?
No,
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's a reach at all. That feels super intentional. Which is, it begs the question, he's going down as on to help people and seems to be able to heal a shimmer addiction, which seems like a real cool thing. Why did he need a death imagery for that one?
Who knows? Maybe it's like supposed to invert it or something like that. Maybe
he can take it away.
Maybe there's some sort of second of like some other shoe that will drop with all this, which is kind of my assumption that because when he heals Huck,
I wasn't expecting to see Huck again this season. I
Yeah,
thought he was a one and done, baby.
I like Huck as a weird like whipping boy, not really that, more like emotional like puppy that you kind of can keep kicking or something like that. I don't know.
He's like the rickety cricket of.
Oh, he's like the cricket. Arcane.
Oh my god! Right? I went. Oh god! There's some way you can make that mashup and it would be actually perfect. Oh my god! Jesus. Yeah, I don't know, right? But the fact that it puts things on Huck, like Huck is not just healed; he also has stuff kind of
he is.
inlaid. So who
And he's
knows?
looking
I don't know.
good.
Right? He got. I think he got
His hair looks
de-aged.
on point after that.
That, or maybe he just like, yeah, he's like, well, I'm here. I guess I'll throw a little on the old snowy top up there. You know what I mean?
Heliovision or something.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious if this is a bad thing, an okay thing, a very bad thing. That's going to kind of
think it's-
result in all of this.
Or like most things in Arcane, a good and bad thing.
Yeah, A and B,
that's
right?
fair. I'm really curious what all this hex core goo is, and
I want to know about that goo, man.
and just what the arcane is in general. Is all very vague, of course.
Yeah, they really like almost anthropomorphize it in this, which I thought was a really interesting way of approaching it. That when Jace is having his little conversation with Echo, right? And it's like it's an interesting way to kind of depict it.
Pass me the book or whatever.
Yeah, the tome. Pass me the
tome.
I was like,
the tome.
"Give me
You
the tome."
wouldn't say book.
Like some plebeian.
Fucking
Echo's like, "You mean the book?" The only other thing about Victor was I thought it was a really neat line. Neat. I assume this is what they're intending when Jace is like, "Oh, you must be cold, right?" And Victor's like, "Not cold. That's not the word." And it's got this like shot on his cocoon or whatever. It's like almost like a, I don't know, sort of voidy, missing-y type empty feeling instead.
It's not
right?
purple anymore, though. I don't
It
know
is
if
not
this is going to be the
purple. I
void
feel
anymore.
like it has void influence, it seems like, still with its
Yeah,
weird
maybe.
structure, but definitely like they're pulling away from the purple.
Boo.
No,
But, like,
maybe
we'll see.
the purple's OP.
It's-
Maybe the
The thing is, like, the hex tech itself, not void influence.
That's
It
true.
was only when they added the shimmer to it and the shimmer and Victor's blood,
Which had shimmer. I assume that was.
that it became, the weird voidy shit that we see now.
yeah.
And in the corruption in season 3, like, I assume, I could be wrong about this, but I very much assume that that's because of the scene from season 2 when Jace and Victor were like questioning Marcus about the ledgers in the in
Yes.
the thing, and Victor coughs blood down into the tunnel.
Yeah, I saw. Again, I've been looking at like reactions and stuff, and someone had pointed that
Okay, so
out.
I just didn't not miss that. What
No,
the fuck?
I wouldn't have picked it up.
Because Heimer, when he notices the corruption too, like
Yeah,
it's
I
on
know.
the floor.
Yeah,
and a
I
little
know what
splatter
you're meaning.
mark.
It's like exactly where it would have fallen.
Yeah, yeah, man. Imagine if he had just like had a hanky or some shit, right? Like a little in-flight
What type
bag.
of proper
you know what I
man
mean?
are you?
Man, I didn't think Victor was going to be so responsible for all of this
Everything
horrible-
that goes wrong.
I mean, he
in
was
our-
coughing blood. It's not his fault, man.
Yeah, that's fair. He shouldn't have been born in Zaun. I don't.
Yeah, that's true. If he was smarter, he'd been born in Piltover. Yeah.
Although I don't know what he was doing there in particular. That seems like a Jace thing. Even he was literally at the start of that like, Jace, this is a waste of our time. What are we doing here? Like, it's a good question. What are you specifically doing here? Because you're not a council person. You are just like
also
the
you-
scientist working on this shit.
Do you want to sit down also? Like, you
Right?
want some orange slices or something,
Can
man?
you imagine your friend is just hacking up blood all around you all the time, and you're just like, walk it off, buddy. Let's go. We got a lot of stairs to climb.
Like, yeah, watch me step all over this sheriff. Check this shit. You good? I don't have much else for 2. The only thing I want to call out is the little music box that plays over the singed stinger
Oh my
at the end.
god. Yes. And then he has the
The
locket
little
still.
locket. Oh.
It's like I
mean,
feel like they're
come
setting
on,
up
like, I'm-
too much for
Too much, right?
how much they have. You know, if I'm not going to get an Oriana, stop showing me the fucking locket, or whoever his daughter's going to be. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I do.
gonna
That's
be
a good
Maddie.
point. We've only got 6 episodes.
We'll see. We'll see. It could be a quick thing,
Okay.
but yeah, that's all been very fun.
What if Oriana goes out of shows up, but then goes somewhere else? All right, and we follow her.
That's
into-
the next season of.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be Ambessa that we're following.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with all this Black Rose setup
Yeah,
shit.
we're gonna
Like, it's going to
do
be
Noxus
Noxus,
next.
Black
It's gonna be
Rose,
Noxus.
Swain.
I think they're desperate for a way to make the Black Rose cool again after how much they fucked up with them in the lore.
They're doing a decent job.
I think they've succeed. You want to jump into that? Like, what, you got anything more for 2? You want to hop into 3 through that?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool as fuck.
It's
that
been
whole,
cool,
that whole scene.
right?
It's cool.
Yeah.
And like with Anara too, that shit was cool as hell. Like I still don't even know what happened to her. Is she dead now?
Oh, Laura, you mean?
Oh yeah, Laura,
Laura.
not Amara.
How do you forget
Although
Laura?
Amara too, I guess. Both
I
both
said,
of
yeah,
the
that's always was confusing me.
names.
Yeah, Laura was. Is that so? Okay, was she in the Black Rose? Was that her whole thing?
Alora?
No,
I
I
don't think
No,
Alora
she was killed by the Black Rose. Okay,
yeah.
killed or abducted, or maybe
I
just
think
LeBlanc.
she was killed.
I think killed.
And then some weird red shit took Mel. What do we think? Anybody have theories on what that was or where she's going?
Where's she going? I could not tell. I could not say. I mean, certainly, like this is all like the bit with Amara
Yeah.
betrayed. The names are like they barely mention names. They get like
I
Amara gets named a few
know.
times. Like that reads super like just her line, right? Like my death means nothing. Her voice is kind of changing. Doesn't she say something as like there's like many of us or something like that, or we are a legion? Does she say something like that? Am
I don't
just
remember.
We
It
all
sounds like
the-
something they would
I
say.
know.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
just the my death means nothing, but it does read super as though right. And Amara is probably not a Black Rose agent. Probably some LeBlanc clone type switcheroo type situation, right? That's my read on it.
I hope so.
I actually, when we meet Mel, I wouldn't be surprised to find Amara there. Like, wherever they took Mel, just like...
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I
That
hope
would
they
be
recruit
interesting.
Mel.
I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say the next time we meet Mel, she's gonna be
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc, right? She's gonna be.
Maybe
We're
she
gonna be in a
just comes
council
back,
meeting, and Mel's gonna come in, and she's gonna be not Mel anymore, right?
but
Like
they won't know.
exactly, yeah. And then Jace is gonna like put his head in her lap.
He'll notice.
And LeBlanc's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, he'll notice."
No, I said he'll notice. I do like the idea that Jace puts. She's like, "Get out of here, boy!"
Remember when she had to like tattoo that person? She's like, I don't know about the tattooing thing. I made a smiley face. It's like I don't know. I guess I'll
She
play
just,
with
like,
his hair or something.
Pats his head really roughly or something. There.
Okay,
Are you done,
Full
little
comedy.
bitch?
Full comedy. I would love it. Yeah, I don't know. You could look also for like in terms of Mel stuff. Mordekaiser's a big thing with the Black Rose, and she did get taken to some sort of realm, but a ghost realm, perhaps. Probably not. But I'll just throw it out there.
Oh,
Ghost
that'd be
realm.
cool though. It's gonna be something
Yeah,
cool
probably-
from Noxus, please,
Right.
please.
Yeah.
And when they were like, God, I forget her name. The cat Vestaya.
Ooh,
I don't think I don't even remember
Les.
ever being mentioned.
Less,
but maybe it was.
Mal talk, yeah, less.
I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, when they were having that whole scene in the theater house, they were putting on a production of the coronation of the Crown Guard about Jarvan.
I didn't
Yes.
notice that until you pointed it out. Yeah.
Even in episode, God, is it 1? They have the little, like they've got like the banners up on the light posts of like, oh, come to Piltover Broadway and see, because they got it's like the picture of J4 or whatever,
Yeah.
which I thought was gonna be an Easter egg, but the fact that they're actually doing the stage production is neat.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
at a
Sign,
Medarda
yeah.
theater too. 'Cause they had the Medarda emblem outside the theater.
Oh, really? I
Massive
didn't catch that
emblem,
bit. That makes sense, right? That's where Mel does some of her shady dealings, right? She's able to do her little. I was liking that whole scene. I hope that we get more of Mel kind of doing almost like a noir type investigating what's going on and trying to uncover her mom's shenanigans.
Yeah,
thing.
I really loving her in this.
Yeah.
I'm so scared for her though, because
I mean, that's true. She did just
I
get
don't think
abducted. That's a
she's-
real shame.
gonna make
Real
it
shame.
out of this.
Yeah.
And just everything she's
I
doing for
forgot
her
about
mom. And I
that.
feel like it makes sense for Ambessa to lose Mel too. I feel like just to push her even further.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Maybe like
Yeah.
not
Wild.
even to push her further, because I think she doesn't need any
That's
pushing. But that
true.
might be the thing to destabilize her enough that other people have a chance against her.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I feel like they need a little bit of help here. She seems a little too far ahead of them right now.
She's very far ahead of them.
Like we thought that Mel was really good at the manipulation thing, but Ambessa really walked in here and was like,
That was
"Hold my
great,
fucking beer."
Though, honestly, they did a great job at it. Because, I mean, like, she has to be, right? She has to be 10 times better than Mel.
to have lived in Noxus this whole time.
Yeah, and to have been the one to teach Mel what she knows. And they did a really great job with that. Yeah, we do find out Mbessa here is the one who made the Chem Barons attack the memorial. It was such a quick shot, and I really liked it. I was shocked, honestly. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, really?
I suspected just because of Mel. When Mel was like, man, how did they get in here? They must have had someone from the inside and just stare.
There's a hard cut
they
to
literally like tell me, but it's okay.
But there's a lot of specifics there that they don't. So I mean, it was a very like WandaVision reveal there.
I've only seen that once. I don't know.
Very Agatha all along type.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I've seen neither. So.
Oh God! Right, yeah. What else? We have so much to talk about in this episode. The team leaves. When Vi and Caitlyn cut the team, they tell them to go away. You're too weak for this. Jinx hunting.
This was another thing where it's like, well, I didn't really know who these people were anyway, so.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
It made sense to get rid of them. But yeah, it did seem strange that they were even down there in the first place.
I mean, who knows, right?
It seems strange. To your point, like, if they were gonna be there in the first place, it does seem strange to get rid of them at that point. Like,
yeah.
Because they knew that they were going down there specifically to hunt Jinx. Just to cut them loose right before they get to Jinx seemed like a weird call. Like, don't bring them then.
Yeah.
If you know you don't want them.
They do seem to try to establish that with Abby, is that her?
Maddie?
Her name? Maddie, yeah. So, someone in the zone. With, like, they have a lot of shots of Maddie reacting to those dolls that kind of come down when they find the bookkeeper fella.
That's true, and Vi kind of realizes, like,
so her, like,
they're
metal.
not ready for this.
Again, it's like...
she's... I think that's probably the first time where they're aware that, like, oh, we came here as a surprise. And clearly they know.
Yeah.
She's on to us.
Not surprised.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, why are they picked for this special team if they're, I don't know, so easily.
I think they would have made the difference in that fight. Maybe if it weren't a 2v3, they would have won that one.
Probably would have
been 2v3, 2v2.5, right? And a quarter.
Yeah, Timo's there.
We should. We want to talk about the Vi Jinx fight, or I'm trying to remember, or we get into
so first of all, not Jinx, Vi and Caitlyn make out a little bit.
Oh yeah, they didn't save that shit for later in the season. We get that kiss there. Act 1, baby.
Yeah. I mean, they break up immediately.
We get kiss followed immediately by, Caitlyn
betrayal,
beating the shit out of her a little bit.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, the whole Jinx Vi fight is so. This whole situation is devastating that Jinx has set up for herself. She made her own funeral, and even set off fireworks for when she died. Like, that's how it was all supposed to go down. And, like, that kind of realization for me, of, like, realizing that she came down here to die, fuck, that hurt. I think that's just so devastating. And that she wanted Piltover to know that she existed, how she had set this up. I'm glad she didn't die, but it would have been a great funeral, Jinx. She did a good job.
I will say, I had not thought about that as an interpretation at all.
I'm sorry. Am I wrong?
No, I hope you're not, because I think it's beautiful, really. Because I remember this feeling when the thing happens, where all the things happen up on top side of, like, oh, wow, it just keeps getting worse. What's going to happen after this? And it's like, oh, it doesn't seem like it actually...
color.
It's just color. And I remember thinking, like, what's going on here? Why is this, like, I know they showed the one kid with a respirator, like, okay, yeah, he got a little fucked up from the gray. It sucks. But this is not like some devastating, like, chemical attack. But I think what you described is so much more poetic. And I really I did not get a chance to rewatch episode 3. And I really want to rewatch that whole sequence with that lens.
Yeah.
Because even, like, the final thing, when Vi could have finished her out there, it's like they're on, like, basically an altar.
Yeah,
like...
they're on an altar, and Jinx giving up and saying it was supposed to be you. I'm glad it's you doing this. She gets so mad when she realizes Isha's there, because I don't think she knew for a while, and she didn't want her to get hurt. And what sealed it for me was when she yelled, "This wasn't how it was supposed to go." And she's so devastated that it didn't go the way she wanted it to. I also felt like watching Jinx and Vi fight compared to Caitlyn and Savika, especially. They're trying to kill each other, and Jinx and Vi, it felt like they were not into it. Like their hearts did not feel into it at all. I don't know if that was just me, but
it's hard because it's a very overwhelming sequence because it's interspersing with
the
reality kind of breaking down, right?
Yeah, whatever happens. Yeah.
I really wish I had gotten a chance to rewatch it before this. I desperately now do want to with all that context because I'm really interested in it. I think that would be so appropriate for the characters. I remember having that feeling of whenever it would cut between Vi and Jinx and Kate and Savika, that the Kate and Savika fight felt so much more brutal. You know, Caitlyn's disarmed and she's biting into Savika's hand just as like the last fuck you to the whole thing, and then Savika gets hit with like a bit of like the arcane and is like screaming out in pain, and it does feel like you said they're actively trying to kill each other in a way that arcane fights feel like compared to maybe what's going on with Vi and Jinx, but there's so much more under the surface. So
although I do think she would have done it
if it weren't for the kid.
If not for the kid, it definitely seemed like there was a moment almost like.
She had the echo moment for a second.
Yeah. and it kind of seemed like she was gonna
commit
hit her anyway. To kind of like
I don't think
almost like putting down a pet.
Yeah, I don't think
just
she was
like
gonna kill her.
She doesn't want to live like this. Like,
putting down a pet is wild, John.
What a phrase, man.
Can you please they light a candle outside in the hallway for him?
Thoughts and prayers.
Tell her, well, Jinx went to this nice family over in Devassi, and don't worry about it. I know where you're at, though. It's hard because you think about the reality of it, and it's the same thing that flashes in my mind back at that Echo Jinx fight. Of like, you're gonna have to beat her to death. And that's about what you're about to have to do.
I mean, to be personally, and I when she stops Caitlyn, I think she knew that Caitlyn wouldn't miss, but also she also knew that the Caitlyn she had been getting to know wouldn't shoot at a child, even if she was confident she was going to miss. Yes. Or wasn't going to miss.
And she
could have missed, yeah.
It also depends, like, Caitlyn was taking some wild... Even before that, Caitlyn had a shot and took off Jinx's finger. Like, yeah. I mean... She did miss. And also, like, Vi was dealing with the whole weird corruption shit in her fists, the same as Caitlyn was. So, like, who knows how accurate your fucking sniper rifle is at that point.
That's true. That's a good point.
I don't know if she would have put that together in the moment, but like
that's the thing, right? It's like I don't think that's present in the character mind. It's it's hard, man. I feel like it's got to be like many things. It's got to be a mix of it because this is also the Vi who at one point was like, well, kids are gonna die. They signed up for it. This is on. This shit happens. Right?
Yeah, that feels different to me.
Sure, right? Yeah.
Like this kid's ready to take a bullet for someone because she cares about her so much. You know, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, that feels so different. And it's her sister. Like, someone's about to die for her sister, and she's never even seen this kid before. And
yeah. And I think this is kind of... We had talked a little bit about, like, is Vi just playing tough? Like, is she more impacted by this than we think she is? You mentioned she, like, she had a real sad look at that dead kid in the first season. Yeah. Like, I think this is the more, accurate Vi. Like, Vi doesn't want to see kids murdered. And Vi saw what that did to Jace. Like, that was devastating for Jace. And the last thing she wants is for Caitlyn to have that on her conscience, too.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to kind of highlight. I think too is that I think it's almost and again, there's a lot of things acting here, and I think that's a big part. One of them. Right? Is keeping Kate.
Even if she didn't miss and she hit Jinx, that kid would then be splattered with blood and brain matter from someone she was willing to die to protect. Not a great other option. I feel like what happened was for the best. Although the Janna wall didn't need to die, Jinx. That was devastating. What a beautiful wall. A tribute to Janna. Destroyed it.
Yeah, I like the Janna.
I like that they brought her up, though.
I remember they were going down into it, and I was like, "Are we going into like old Zahn?
Ashra Zahn, right?"
Yeah. And we did. And even before that, there's a. I think when Victor's walking through the Undercity, this is episode 2, I guess. Now I'm thinking about it. But there's people who are like praying to a depiction of Janna on a wall, right? Like some more recent drawing of her, which I thought was neat. I thought that was going to be all the Janna we got. Not.
Wow, we got two. Yeah, we got two
Janna.
And a little
Not
sword.
Janna's
Janna.
wind doing the whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
she did.
Yeah,
Throw wind around.
Little backstory too with it. We got a name mention, not just a picture mention. It was great.
Yeah, they did say Janna's name.
It was devastating seeing Vi punch Jinx through the picture of the two of them as children with a little heart on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kill me, man. The two of them kill me so much.
Right.
Yeah, it's all paying dividends. All that stuff from season 1, man. It's so nice.
So yeah, what do we think is going on with the time travel and hex core shit and all that at the end, where they're turning into a surrealist painting?
That's tough.
I mean, surely we're going to be jumping into sort of. I mean, we've got Echo in the mix, so we're going to be jumping into potentially like time travel, alternate timelines.
And then Zillion's going to appear, I assume.
Don't even tempt me. Don't even. They're gonna see some vague, blurry image of a bearded guy floating around. It's like it's weird. It looked like he had a big clock on his back. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna be getting into some of that. For a second, I was so surprised that we were at the Jinx and Vi having this big showdown so early on. Feels a little early, maybe narratively. I don't know. And I was wondering, I was like, are we gonna Groundhog Day this shit? Are we gonna go back to the start of episode 1 of season 2 at the end of this one after, and like one or two people are gonna like, maybe Echo himself will be, I don't know. Obviously they didn't do
That'd
that,
be
but
wild.
I'd be surprised. I kind
I
of
would
like
be too.
this.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I like this happening so early, just because I think it highlights the fact that season 1, I think, was the Vi Jinx story, right? And like and it had a lot of other side stories, but I feel like that was the main through line. And I think season 2, Vi and Jinx are going to be a part of the story, but I think the main thrust of this one is going to be focused elsewhere. So I'm fine with like this fight happening early on, because I don't think it's going to be, or is intended to be, the climax of the season.
No, it's not even going to be a climax of their relationship. They're both not who they're supposed to be yet.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I
think that makes sense.
They all have to go through their changes, and then I think they'll meet up again, and I'm curious what that will be like. Because I do want Vi to get to a point where she doesn't necessarily want Jinx dead. And I'm very curious where Jinx is going to end up. I'm very curious how they're going to end this show in a way that's satisfying, because they can't kill a lot of their bad guys and stuff like that, or even put them in prison. Yeah, although I do believe Zon will be its free nation, and that'll be a big part of it. And Echo will be a leader down there, probably.
I think one thing that I think definitely has to happen, and I think they're setting it up already in Act 1, is like end of Act 3, the Hex Gates are gone. It shrinks the world too much. I think in like the ability to travel anywhere in the blink of an eye, I think makes this massive world of Runeterra probably too small for what they want to do with it, if that makes sense. And I think they're setting up the corruption of the Hex Gates to basically shut them off by the end of it before they move to another region.
Yeah, I'm open to that. I think that tracks, honestly, as you kind of mentioned it. I hadn't thought about it in that way. But I like that. That makes me think just of the Echo and Jace starting to like really get into it, about Echo being like, well, if something explodes, you gotta blow it up down here, you fucking dick.
Yeah.
I know it's safe. It's so far away. Like, ventilation shafts everywhere,
Dude.
Jace. You're a scientist. Come on.
This is literally my living room. There's my fucking couch.
It's a great pairing that I didn't think we were going to get in this season. I didn't think Echo and Jace were going to team up in any way at any point. So even just having them meet was great. I am really hoping that Echo knows exactly who he is, and that Jace has no memory at all of Echo as the little boy who's swinging the fuck out of him. And then led Vi and Powder and everybody to his lab to blow it up. Whoops.
I mean, I plumb forgot about it in their little interactions here in season 2. that will be nice. Surely they're going to have a little bit with that. That will be nice.
Right?
And
You're that
Heimerdinger
guy who doesn't haggle.
Heimerdinger just in the background, just constantly fiddle around with shit, and then we'll randomly interject with his intelligence.
Heimerdinger sneaking into
the sneaking
fucking
scene! How did I forget about
lab
that?
was the funniest shit I've ever
We
seen.
needed a comedy moment in this show because we weren't really getting it, and that was what I needed so desperately. He's so cute, little Heimerdinger Bond.
It's like, don't you own this place? Shh. We're sneaking in.
And then he gets caught, and he doesn't even there's no consequences. Obviously, it's Jace.
Posh,
They know
like
each
you
other.
haven't done it.
Yeah, that was I like that line. Come on, like you haven't fucking done it at least once. Oh man,
That was really cute.
I'm excited to see. Oh god, it was so
Sorry.
Mark's
bright.
light turned off.
my light is kind of finicky. I'm sorry.
It's his arcane.
Yeah, it's the
opening.
arcane.
Right?
Oh fuck!
Jace.
Like, I better touch this shit. Oh, oops.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see more Heimerdinger this season because we're definitely going to, and I'm so here for it. In like Heimerdinger proper, I feel like we saw a lot of Heimerdinger season 1,
He's
but
more
like
his silly self.
he
in
was
this
like
one.
Counselor Heimerdinger. I'm excited to see Heimerdinger.
Oh,
Getting loose with it.
Heimer.
6 Mike's Hard Lemonades deep Heimerdinger, right?
that's when he becomes Dinger Donger.
He starts walking around. Come on, you know he's got to do the swag at least
Original
once.
walking animation.
I'd love just one little nugget of that. Would be great. Like
Please.
maybe that's how he dances or something.
Oh man.
Was the mask that he was wearing on the sneak in, was that like a reference to anything? I noticed he had
think
it
it
in
was
his
a
It
hair.
was a firelight
Isn't it a
mask.
firelight?
Oh, you're
mask?
right. That's totally what it
fancy
is. Yeah, you're totally right. I'm just dumb.
It looked like a homemade firelight mask, to be fair.
It
Like,
did.
it looked like he
Right.
built one because he
Paper
wanted to
mache.
fit in.
Aw, just wanna fit in.
Pretty good.
Oh, it's great. Any other thoughts, hopes, and dreams? I'm trying to think if I have anything.
Man, I'm so excited to see where...
Everything.
Do we think that the official Warwick reveal is going to be end of Act 2 or
Sometime
start
in
of
Act
Act
3?
2?
Not a lot of Warwick time, man. I hope it's. I'm gonna guess.
I hope it's Act 2. I don't think it's gonna be start
Yeah, Act
though.
2.
And maybe halfway or end
Yeah,
of Act 2.
episode 5. It's like
Ooh.
Oh, 5 even. So not even like the cliffhanger
In the middle. I
shit.
like that.
Okay.
In the middle
smack dab
there.
in the middle. I mean, crap, man. You introduce him at the end. It's like you got 3 episodes of Warwick. After all that build up, it was the first teaser they put out was him hanging there. It's like, come on, man.
I need Warwick.
I need more. I need more Wick. You know what I
I need
mean?
more.
Oh, ayo.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very interested in what's gonna happen with where Mel's at. If Clone Mel comes back, could be fun. If she's just missing, that could be kind of interesting. Although I like Mel a lot. It's kind of a shame to think that she'll just be off in the ghost zone. So,
Yeah, I think she's gonna... Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of real Mel.
yeah, I think so. And then I think my big wonder and slash, this is probably my biggest concern is what they might do with time travel, because there's a line that really sticks out to me from I think one of the trailers where Echo's like, oh, sometimes to make a great leap you gotta leave it forward, you gotta leave a few things behind. It's like, well, I mean, if he was doing some sort of rewind situation, maybe he's talking to someone about like, well, when I do this rewind and change the timeline, this will never happen, we'll never meet, etc. We'll never have this conversation. So time travel is just like a really big easy way to fuck things up. It's kind of my concern.
I know. I'm not. I was getting a little nervous for that at the end here when we're seeing all this time stuff distorted, because Echo's time travel is one of the only ones I don't mind very much in things because it's so
right?
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, he bears the consequences of his actions in each reiteration.
Yeah, and he's still aging even though others aren't, and even though it's only 12 seconds, right?
Yeah.
It adds
And it's so
up.
tightly
Yeah.
built into like specific to the character and what's going on with him. Duh, Echo is so fucking. His
Echo's
lore is
so cool.
good.
Oh, I can't wait.
So
to see
well
more
written.
Echo, too. He's been great. He's really the only he's doing his best here. I think everybody else is fucking up a lot, and Echo's got the most stable head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
In this show,
We talk a lot about people being good and bad, but like, man,
Echo really
Echo's
is-
just so good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else it might be going on. Oh, just random stuff. The thing that the Ambessa's sort of main bodyguard uses to break the magic. I thought that to me might be like a nod toward Kainic Rickern. I thought that the runes and the coloring of it looked similar to the item.
It does look like that, yeah.
That's kind of my thought. Like it's a little nod, like a little anti-magic thing with jig.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was trying to figure out. I'm not familiar enough with with that item. I don't think I've ever built it in my life. But I was just like, from my frame of reference that I did have, it looked like one of the runes on Riven's sword.
It could also be that there's a sword up on the wall that I was looking at real hard in Bessa's room to see if it was a runic blade. I don't think it is, but it's a big sword that looks kind of like it.
Which would be weird, right? Because we know that shit came from LeBlanc specifically. So it's probably...
Well, okay, so that's something we haven't talked about, is that Amara... Amara says specifically that Ambessa has stolen something. Right?
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know what. I'm just throwing it out there.
Don't know what.
Sorry about the lines. But yeah, so it's not just some sort of like, oh, they're out for blood, and they make mention of like, because I wish I had all the dialogue that Amara says in front of me, because she kind of makes a lot of hint as to like Ambessa could have left things alone almost, but like this does she say like, did she use the word feud? I wish I had written it down. Something like that. I don't know. It gives this big hint, like, at least I think, hint that Ambessa's done stuff that is not just purely defensive. She's done something to transgress, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I feel like definitely tracks with what we know of her as a character, as opposed to what she's told Mel.
Yeah, I mean, she told Mel that her brother crossed some guy, right? And that's what happened. But it seems now like Ambessa stole something, and now they're willing to kill her family to get it back.
What could she have stolen? What if she stole Rel? And
I was
Mel
curious.
becomes Rel's adopted mother or something. Mel and
some
no, you're
tangled
right.
situation. Mel and
Mel, that's mostly just
The
from the
clue
names.
was right there the whole
so
time.
What if she stole Mel? I don't know.
We did get to see the picture of her brother. I didn't look at it closely enough to see if it looked familiar. If anyone in that picture looked familiar.
Did it from what I saw, but I didn't like stop the. I didn't stop the video.
Yeah, me neither.
I was watching Arcane. I don't think I stopped it. So.
The more you stop it, the longer it takes to continue it. Yeah, that's just science.
Right. But yeah, I thought that was something I had almost missed, but I thought that was kind of important for contextualizing what's going on. And I don't know.
True.
Do you think?
Never.
All right, when they say in season 1 that Kino is gone, do you think he just got taken? Is Mel gonna find Kino?
Ooh, man, you got all these tantalizing ideas. It's like, yeah, let's do that.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Your light is not on board with you today.
Okay.
Something's gone horribly wrong. It's fine. I'll be cast in half shadow for the rest of this. It's no big deal.
I don't necessarily have anything. We didn't get our. I still have my prediction that we're gonna get. Well, I guess Janna kind of counts, but I'm not gonna count it.
Another champion.
I said we were gonna see another champion, at least in cameo. You know, if not in a major role in the season.
I mean, it's definitely going to be tied to what's going on with Ambessa.
I still think we're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're tantalizingly close.
Yeah, I hadn't anticipated LeBlanc, so
me neither.
Might already be
thrilled, y'all.
I'm sure we made some joke about like,
everyone was LeBlanc.
We did make an everyone is LeBlanc joke.
Or that like,
true.
Or that like what's his name? Or that Zach was there the whole time in every scene in Zon. But I wasn't expecting actually LeBlanc. This is exciting shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they could do this much teasing and then make it like a new character who's not a champion. I think people would be kind of disappointed. I mean, they could, but it would be a bummer.
Yeah.
You know what, too? I'm curious how much I'm very curious how much of the Ambessa novel we're getting is going to fill in some of these gaps.
That's a good
Maybe
good point.
something about what she stole. Maybe.
I forgot about the Ambessa
that
novel.
would be really interesting. That's coming out February?
I think so. I'm curious.
I think so. I think it's early 2025.
Are we going to get a LeBlanc reference in 2 of the 3 League novels that are out?
I want her to be in every. Maybe she's. God, I want her to be in every novel. That would be
Right?
great.
Maybe she was Soraka in the Ruination novel and wanted to actually kick off the whole Ruination.
Sure.
Maybe.
You mean again? You
Yeah,
could
February
always could
18th.
be.
Ooh, it's gonna be 400 pages. This is a book, y'all.
It's a
Nice,
book.
nice. I'm excited. Yeah, that'd be fun.
You know what? I was like, I feel like maybe I was less excited about an Ambessa novel, just because, like,
She knew.
I don't know.
You don't
It
know
just
her.
seemed like it would be more martial, like more of the Garen
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Shield, but with Noxus. But now that I'm remembering, or I guess finding out now for the first time, how tied she is into the Black Rose, I'm reinvigorated.
Yeah, a lot of political maneuvering, a lot of intrigue.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm really liking it. Also, Smeech, the Yordle, Kim Barrett, he's tons of fun. He's a great character to play around
He
with.
was great. Yeah, as like the one to try to be the most ambitious. To take out Jinx. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, I really liked the scene after he died. I think it was the opening of episode 3, where they kind of slowly went through. They had like the picture of all the Chembarans, and they were like erasing them as they had
That's
died.
2.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2. That's the song I was talking about. Where it's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that's what it started with. I'd forgotten
yeah.
that's a.
Right. You're talking about, and then that's the one that also has the shots of Jinx walking through.
I thought Smeech ended up getting erased by the end of it. Am I imagining that just because he ended
I mean, he
up dying
did in that
episode?
sequence. I don't remember it being like
I'm probably
redoing anything
remembering
like
it wrong.
that. Yeah. Yeah, that one was fun. That little bit was also fun because it opens with like an animated thing of Soko coming and sitting down. I was like, are we gonna get a little flashback sequence? But no, it's just setting the what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's Act 1. Yeah? We feeling
So
good? We're feeling
excited for
excited.
Act
so.
2, man.
We're setting up so much.
Oh, man. You know,
Aw,
I feel
man.
like we had reasonable doubts, right? Like, we knew it was going to be good, obviously. Obviously, they weren't going to put something out that was going to be bad. But, like, you know, you always wonder, like, is it going to be as good? And, like, maybe the end of episode 3 didn't have the same impact of the end of episode
That's
3
a hard
from
one.
season 1.
Act
But,
1,
like,
yeah.
I feel like overall, the first act, very, very strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are going to get a bit of a time skip, too, by the way.
Oh.
I don't think as big as the one in Act 1 and Act 2, but yeah, I feel like we're going to get a little time skip. I don't know. We'll see, though. I feel like Chase and
Curious.
Echo and Heimer might be missing for a while, is kind of how I'm feeling, but I'm not sure. Who knows?
interesting. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where it goes with. Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. You know, I think it reminds me a little bit of kind of where I was at watching Act 2 from season 1, where it's just coming out, trying to come off of the emotional high or low, whatever, of the end of Act 1 of season 1 is a very hard thing to try and like work around. And I guess it's easy to just want that exact thing from it, but I don't think it's appropriate to want it or expect it maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We're really excited to talk about Act 2 and to watch Act 2.
Yeah.
We have a twitch.tv/Loreheads. John streams there on Saturday evening, 6:30 p.m. EST is what he wants me to say, apparently.
Ish.
It's more like 7:30. Yeah. If you want to play some ARMs with Johnny Boy over here,
Hi.
he'll talk like that the entire time.
The whole time.
We also have YouTube. If you want to see our beautiful faces, Mark's Halloween costume from a few weeks back where he did an epic Anivia cosplay, please check out our YouTube. We also have a Discord. You want to find some people to play League with, send memes, make fun of us? Please join the Discord. And we have a Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons, King of Hearts and Mr. Dead. If you were in Zon and I was leading a strike force, I would not bring the gray through your town.
Aww.
You're safe with me,
Nice.
friends.
Your neighbors, however.
Your neighbors done for.
You'll be choking.
Yeah.
Choking and smoking. Well, please be sure to join us next week because we'll be talking about, of course, Act 2 of Arcane.